It was it was such a weird culture shock. Like I could barely remember being back in Wisconsin where this never happened. I remember moving from Wisconsin to LA, and I remember going out and trying to just hang out because that's what I did in Milwaukee. Like you just went out and just drank and made friends. And I remember small talking some guy at some bar because that my friends dragged me to, and I was like, so what do you do? And he's like, I silk screen T-shirts, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I don't know anything about silk screening T-shirts. How does that work? And he's like, well, you take a thing and you do this, and he's describing the whole process. And I go, so then so then do you like mass produce them and do you sell them like through like a PO box or whatever? And like he goes, I'm just fucking with you, man.
Whoa!
And I'm like, that's hilarious. I'm gonna go home and write a hit TV show. Hit in quotes. Hit in quotes. No, I just it was a really big like I prefer LA culture to Milwaukee culture. I think there's a heavy share of dishonesty and like institutionalized alcoholism as well. Like we weren't good people just because, but we didn't have a reason to like fuck with people. That wasn't recreation. It was for assholes. You called those people assholes. If you caught somebody saying something to someone that wasn't true, that person was just an asshole. And in LA, it's like, but is he the coolest guy in the world? There's just more people, and we all came from all these different cities. And
did I tell you the story about the guy that lied to me, and I caught him in a lie at the drawing room? I don't know his name, so it's not inflammatory. I sat next to a guy, and he was, daytime drinking at the drawing room, our little dive bar, and it's like a little cheersy kind of place where everyone knows everybody. And
minus the cheers.
Minus the cheer. More sadness and more drug addicts, but
less of a clarinet and more of a 60-cycle hum that you hear when you leave the. 8-inch jack, laying in some water.
And a slight smell of methane and poop in the air. It's a great place. So this guy was sitting at the end of the bar, and he something came up, and so we're talking across the bar about the song that's on the jukebox or whatever. So we're having a conversation. So I just scoot down so we're not yelling, and I sit near him. And we're having a conversation. What do you do? He's like, I'm a writer. I'm a filmmaker. I live up in the Los Feliz Hills here, and I got a great house. I'm married. I got this. It's just like life is fantastic. I'm doing what I want. I'm making these movies. No one watches them. They're kind of they're kind of for nothing. And I'm usually broke. I'm mortgaging the house all the time. But it's like I'm doing what I love. I'm like that's fantastic. It's like, and he never once asked me what I did, which is a very common thing. Having conversation with people in Los Angeles or strangers. He just kind of went in this monologue about how awesome things were. And so I just kept asking him questions. I'm where'd you grow up? I grew up here in LA. I said, what did you do before filmmaking? He's like, well, I'm kind of a failed actor. I was an actor. I did theater as a kid. I go, oh, me too. I did theater as a kid. And he goes, yeah, I was on Broadway as a kid. I said, oh, so was I. And I said, what show did you do on Broadway? And he goes, I'm like, okay, now he's lying because you don't remember. Right. You don't forget the show you were on Broadway. It was the thing with the guy. You remember the fucking show that you did on Broadway. Yeah. So he's fishing for it, and he goes, it's the one with it's the one with the
tits and the feathers.
Now, what he doesn't know is he's now walking towards saying that he was on. And also, I found out he's my age. He's a year older than I am. He says that he's in. He goes, it's the one with the bald guy, Yul Brynner. That go, The King and I.
No.
Now,
that's Jeff
Curtis. I was on Broadway in 1985 in The King and I. So I go, at that point I go, oh, how old are you? Because it might have been a different production of it. And he goes, I'm 41 or whatever he was. He was a couple years older than me at the time. I'm like, okay. So you, how old would you have been at the time? He's like, I guess that would have been. I would have been about 11, 12 years old. And so then Yul Brynner was dead. At that point, because I was the last guy to play. I said, "What role did you play?" And he goes, "I played the kid." I go, "Louis?" Yeah, I played Louis. Because there's only one white kid in The King and I. The other kids are all the Siamese kids of the king,
right?
And the prince. And so I'm sitting there like, he's like, that's such a crazy thing to say. Also, I thought he was lying when he didn't know the name of it. So I'm sitting there, and we talked for, I would say, a solid 45 minutes, an hour about his life and about everything. I learned all this stuff. And now I'm just kind of reeling. Okay, everything he said has been bullshit. So I said, so that would have been 85? Are you sure it wasn't like a few years before? Because, or maybe a few years, like, and he goes, no, I did it with your Brenner. I played Louis in The King and I, 1985, and I said, so did I. and his hair fucking went white. And he goes, I said, and so I was trying to take him off the hook. I said, look, when I was doing it, and also, by the way, I never missed a performance. So like, there's not even a chance that he was an understudy. I wondered maybe he was one of my understudies because there were 7 of them. And I thought, oh, fuck, maybe he's one of those kids that I don't remember from back then. And I said, well, I did it too. And I said, maybe, did you just audition for it? Because they were constantly auditioning for it. And he just picked up his shit and walked out.
That's one of the...
And I turned to the bartender and I go, what the fuck was that? I said, he told the only lie I could catch him in. If he said he played the black kid in The Wiz, I couldn't have busted him on that.
Yeah. And
if he said he was Rum Tum Tugger, I couldn't have fucking got him. But he said the role and the day and the thing. He couldn't name the theater. It was just full of shit.
And a lot of those people congregate in bars and do that.
So I turned to the bartender and I go, did you fucking hear that? She goes, oh yeah, by the way, his wife hates his guts. He doesn't live at home. I go, everything he said was absolute
it's always the
malarkey.
Yeah.
And pursuantly, since I've seen him, once in a while he's come back in and he'll see me and he'll walk right back out.
Weren't we talking about that? There's an actual like we were.
Nate, everybody.
Going to get hydrated. Let's.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Let's use the transition to bring Demorge out here.
Demorge Brown, everybody.
Curtis hasn't met Demorge. Right. Okay.
Oh.
Oh yeah. Oh. Yeah. Music choice seems racist.
It was your 9/11 song, was it?
No, I'm kidding.
Can we edit together all the missed handshakes and high fives that I did over here?
Did I miss one?
No. Every time people come up, I give them one of these and they just go right on.
But we would just.
That happened last week.
It did. It happens, Curtis.
People just. I
We
hugged
did this earlier.
You hugged me. You know
I
why?
didn't just do this. I hugged you.
We
but
embraced.
everyone else walks by like you're not even there.
You know why?
Why?
Because you're a tender soul.
Yeah. Well.
And Demorge lies with his eyes.
And his body. And his body.
I love the idea of Demorge as a bad person. Like that is a funny idea.
I'm fucking evil, man.
He seems impenetrably decent.
I see through all that subterfuge.
I think it would be the whole like you could make me laugh nonstop. Just images of Demorge doing something really fucked up and cruel to somebody. It just seems ironic. Like, I saw Demorge at the grocery store and he was just like kicked this kid.
I did it. Kicked him.
But that liar guy, like this is a God damn it! I swear I was just talking about this with somebody probably on this podcast, but there was also like this is a thing with alcoholism too. There's a sort of disorder where you start to become a pathological liar, and we bandy that phrase around pathological liar, and we tend to mean somebody who lies a lot. But it's like there are people who truly cannot control, like
and can't, not just can't tell the truth, won't tell the truth.
They won't, and they can't, and they lie and they lie and they lie. And I think there's some link with alcohol there, where like if your brain starts to fucking like, if you're like committed to sitting there and drinking, that's why you find like. At those troughs, there's just these guys with a million stories, and they kind of it starts to there's some syndrome where you start to create your own memories and you stack them up, and then like you're drawing on those, and you don't know it's not the truth. Except that guy, I would be willing to bet in that moment when you said the reason his hair turned white is because he realized in that moment he was lying, not so much because he got caught, because he realized. Because he was like, yeah, oh shit, there's no way I'm telling the truth right now.
I see, I don't know. I think that he knew he was bullshitting me from front to back. He wasn't drunk. He didn't strike me as a career drinker.
Well, we always think about lies as being like this thing that you use, like a crowbar, because we have a conscience, and we tend not to lie to each other because we feel guilt about it. And so when we look at like sociopathic tendencies as being like, oh, that person's cheating, they're using like a tool to open a thing, and they can get more shit done than we can. But there's a dark side to it where they can't control it. They can't just be normal. They can't feel, and they can't be beholden to this wonderful thing we all share, which is this river we go down, which is like, there's fucking truth. Get on it, motherfucker.
Well, you know, there's something else which occurred to me, was he may have been lying to you. He may also have been lying to the bartender, because if she was really good looking, he would, of course, tell her that his wife doesn't love him and he doesn't live at home.
Yeah, that I don't know. But
that whole thing could have been a joke,
I think
a lie as well.
She had said that, like, it wasn't that he had unburdened that on her. It's that she happens to either know the woman or she knows somebody else that knows the score there. So like it was like kind of, I think, semi-verifiable that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
But that's very likely. I think that he was creating a fantasy world that,
right.
and in that world, everything not only is great, but also has always been great and always has been different.
And that has to be easy to do in that world, because if you're a person who's planted at a bar on a regular basis, to the left and to the right, you have people who kind of flit in and flit out.
Yeah.
And they're all looking for...
And you can tell pieces of that story. You can lay the game with all, you know,
right.
with
That's
all
why
those,
you
with
go
those
to a
chess
bar. Like, that's why you don't just sit at home and drink. Like, you go to a bar, the idea is this chorus line of linear connectivity that you can choose. You can stare forward and drink, or you can bother to connect with one person and control it. And if that person says, I'm a trumpet player, and like, you start to feel like you're getting your life done, like you're a cooler person than sober people. Like, there's a camera behind the bar pointing at me. I'm getting to know the trumpet player. I'm expanding my horizons. But then there's, like, of course, like any biosphere, there's this fungus growing on that, which is like people who are just like, yeah, I'm a trumpet player. Like, they're not. They're just more alcohol than man. Weird. What if I became one of them? What if I was just like, what if I lost my whole life to that? What if I was just sitting there going like, all right, NBC, and then I'm a spider. You're a spider? Yeah, I'm a spider. I work for NBC and I'm a spider. Tell me more. Well, I got 8 legs, and then the next person you talk to, you got the whole spiel about the 8 legs going on, and you think it's the truth. Let's not do that. Let's just drink at home like we should. Okay.